Hey, what's going on? In today's video, I want to talk about cash flow and particularly tracking cash flow. So, I've been tracking my finances about once a week or so for the past, probably a few years. And before that, I would track my money coming in and coming out probably once every 2 weeks. So, or even once a month actually. So it would be once a month or so, I'd track my money, and then I slowly went from once a month to once every 2 weeks, and then I went to once a week, and now I'm tracking it once a day, or at least 5 days a week, so Monday to Friday. And I realized that the more attention I place on my money and where it's coming and where it's going, the more I have a pulse on what my finances are doing, right? So I know finances are a pretty tough subject for most people. I know myself included, like before, I would not want to look at my statements. I would not want to look at my credit card bill. Like that stuff would scare me. Again, it was like a once a month thing. And once I was done with it, I was like so relieved that I didn't have to look at that stuff for another month. But I realized that by behaving that way, it just it just kind of kicked the can down the road in terms of letting my finances kind of fall apart in some areas, or letting some debt pile up in different areas, or letting my spending kind of get out of control because I wasn't being aware of it. And it was always this catch up game of, paying off last month, but still having some debt left, and then carrying that over to this month, and then maybe I go crazy and spend some, on some trip or something, or on some like car parts, or like whatever the case may be. And then like this revolving debt just keeps following me. Whereas now, as I'm starting to get in the habit of tracking my finances daily, I feel like I'm just going to be so much more hyper aware of when I spend my money, why I'm spending my money, and at that point, just keep a really close eye on my cash flow, and almost make it a game too. Like how long can I go without spending money? Or even if I'm going to spend money, like how can I get rid of something as well? I recently heard from one of the owners of this coaching program I'm part of around wealth coaching. They mentioned that they have a rule in their household where anytime anyone buys a piece of clothing, they have to give away 2 pieces of clothing. So that really makes you pause and think through, do I really want to buy this thing? Because if I buy this thing, then I have to give away 2 things, right? Especially when it comes to clothes. I feel like a lot of people just keep stacking their clothes in their closet, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. But by adopting a practice like this, it means that your closet's going to get smaller and smaller, which is kind of cool, right? If you want to kind of go through that minimalistic route. So I think that's I think that's a cool habit to practice. I think I might start adopting something like that, where if I buy something, then how can I get rid of 2 things? And in that way, it just puts that extra stopper between my impulse to buy and, just makes me think through like what will I have to give away, and if I really need that thing. The only exception to this is probably books. I love buying books. I love collecting books. One day I want to open up a school or library or some sort. So I feel like that's just going to feed into my future goals. So I feel like okay with that. But with anything else, especially clothes, like I don't really like buying clothes. And I feel like, that's probably a good habit to instill. And then, yeah, I feel like I'm going to be really curious to see what happens over the next few months or next year or so by me tracking my finances daily and seeing if I'm able to just grow the monthly cash flow amount and then save more, and then, kind of get me closer to different goals. So yeah, that's one thing I'm going to do. I'm excited to do it. I feel like it's time well spent. And it's one of those things where, if like the majority of people don't do something and you go in the opposite direction, you're probably gonna succeed in a sense. So the majority of people, myself included, don't look at their finances and are afraid of their finances. And if I'm able to just, face it head on and take a look and track it every day, then I feel like that's just going to bring a whole new awareness to my financial situation. And I can, just make it a game and just really be conscious of when and how I spend my money. So hopefully that helps. I'll see you in the next video.